Bit uncomfortable. What's up guys, my name is Kamil and in today's episode we are solving the mystery of why this car doesn't want to start. So if you're new to the channel, this is BMW E46 318 Ti, which means it's a compact chassis and I built it myself. Right now it doesn't want to start, which is a bummer, but we're gonna solve it. I think it's a starter motor. We'll see if we can actually check it today. So let's start. How to remove a starter motor from this car and this engine. We gotta start with removing the cabin air filter and its housing. And it's very simple. 3 screws. This goes out, this goes out. Now we have 4 Torx screws. My car actually has 3 and we gotta unbolt that. It's D25 if anybody wonders. The next thing you have to do is removing the charger cable from the alternator to the battery and push this wiring loom a little bit to the front. This is 19mm and now we have a 10mm here. And now this is loose. In this car, this is not attached by anything, it's just sitting here, so let's take it off. Now we have a lot of room to work with the intake manifold, which has to come off. Fuel line. Close your eyes if you do it without the glasses, because it's gonna squirt a little. It wasn't pressurized.
Now, all the plugs you see. This one, this one, yep, this one too.
This was the vacuum line for oil separator. And to get a little bit more room to work, I'm gonna take out the air filter box. 2 more 10mm bolts. Now here you will see another plug that you have to take off. It's a mass airflow sensor and a vacuum line for your fuel pressure regulator. Okay, this might be a little tricky, but our oil separator is the vacuum goes from this side of the valve cover, goes under the intake manifold to the separator, and then you have your air that is going to the intake manifold. And it's going through this line, and we have to disconnect it. We are halfway there and now it's a bit more tricky part. Before we go there, I want you to type in the comment if this kind of video is helpful. If it is, do it so I know that I should make a little bit more this type of videos. Now let's continue. What you have to know about the intake manifold is that it's not only connected to the head of the car, but it also has a bracket that is holding its weight. This bracket has 3 bolts. All are 13mm, but they are not that easy to reach. They are located under the intake manifold, and that is the tricky part. I'll use my phone to make a video for you. All right. This is 1 bolt. It's also holding the oil dipstick. And the other one is right there. Oh, you can see it right here. Now, third bolt third bolt is the most difficult one, not because it's like super advanced to unbolt. It's just in a tricky place, and I will show that to you after we unbolt this one. And I will show it to you after we unbolt these two. Haha. One more thing you have to do on the top of the manifold, from the top of the manifold, not from the other side than the head, is take out something. I really don't know what it is. Something to do with the vacuum and some kind of valve, and just push it off and disconnect it. Connect it right here, and you have to push it off its bracket. Right there. Let me try to focus. Yep. See this thing? Maybe from here. And now the car goes up. This is your third bolt. Do you need to get your car as high as I did? No. Do you need to take the wheel off? No. These are the things I do to be able to show it to you. But it's, you could have like, you could get the car on some kind of jack stands or some ramps and do it from under the car. You don't need to unbolt anything apart from that one bolt. So under tray, everything stays. Now we are back working on the top of the engine. What we need to disconnect from the intake manifold is the wiring port, right? Wiring box, something like that, you'll see in a second. This and this nut are what is holding the wiring and the oil separator. This was the 10mm socket to get the nuts off. And now we will remove the intake using 11mm socket. Ooh. We take off the oil cap, cover off, obviously put oil cap back for safety. Now, if we remove all those and two 10mm ground wires, now we are able to take this whole mess out of here, just like so. Before you proceed, please cover your intake so nothing gets in, because if something, just like a small tiny bolt, gets in there and you start the engine, the valves go down, they suck it in, and there's your tragedy. To get the starter out, we have to start with this nut and those two small ones. Get them off. The big nut holds the wire that gives our starter the power do its work, and the two small ones are the signal wires. So yeah, we have to unbolt everything because we are taking this sucker out. 13 mil. A 10 mil. And 8 mil. With wiring disconnected, we are left with 2 bolts that are a Torx head, which we have to take off, unbolt, and that will be it. And this is exactly where we cry, because I lost the only socket that I need right now, which is E12, I think, to be confirmed. Found it, yes, it's an E12, 1 bolt from the back of the starter and 1 from the front. They are very difficult to unbolt, which is terrible, and I hate that, but we have to do it somehow. Ooh! Honestly, it doesn't look bad, but it's not about the looks, it's about performance and if it works. Right now, if you were replacing the starter, you would put the new one in and put everything back together, reverse to what we did. So there you go, how to take out the starter motor from the car, from the E46 N42 engines. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye!